ερωτήσεις. Όποιος δεν έχει την ευκαιρία να μιλήσει μπορεί να μου πει εμένα και θα κάνω την αντιστοιχή μετάφραση. Οπότε από αυτό το σημείο θα ξεκινήσουμε αγγλικά. First of all, I would like to thank you and welcome you to Athens and AthensCon. So how about you give a small introduction about who you are?
Okay, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a wonderful experience so far, and I can't wait to go sightseeing this upcoming week and see more of your beautiful country. I'm super excited. But hello, my name is Riis. I've been cosplaying for almost 10 years, 10 years next year actually, and I like to cosplay characters that mean something to me, which I can feel connected to, and it's truly a wonderful feeling.
Amazing. And?
Yes, I'm Sophie, Sophie Riis. I'm her little sister, so I'm the plus one. But yeah, I cosplay as a hobby mainly because I work as a hairdresser stylist usually. So yeah.
Amazing. So you've been cosplaying for 10 years, which is a huge amount of time. Like I've been cosplaying for 7 and it seems such a long time. So how did you start cosplaying? How did you get into the culture of comic books and cosplay?
Well, we've been playing video games since we were little. I started when I was 3 years old. I had like diapers still and everything, and I was playing Mario and the NES. And then it evolved to comics and other video games, and I knew about cosplay in my early teens, but I didn't really dare doing it before I was actually dragged to conventions by some friends, which was in 2009. So my first con was Anime Expo, which was a big convention for someone who's not into the cosplay community yet. So I was really inspired and searched up the community when I got back to Norway, and now I have many, many new friends who I appreciate very much.
And you were just dragged to the whole community.
Basically, she came home from America like, oh, we got it, cosplay and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite, like the best cosplay, not the best, what you think is your most nice and favorite and to your heart cosplay so far?
Mine is Link, not this one, but Twilight Princess Link, because that was my favorite game and it still is. And it's not a hard cosplay, but it still has a lot of details. And I really love how it all looks all together, and I love Link, so obviously him.
I would say out of every cosplay that I've made that actually this one, Zelda from Ocarina of Time, it was a Zelda game that really made me like feel a little special. I think like the songs, the gameplay, everything. It was such a wonderful experience, and I have many good memories for it. And to make it in time for the 20th anniversary of Ocarina of Time this year was like a dream come true. And I wish my 7-year-old self could see me right now, because I remember I wanted to be Zelda when I was 7 years old. And here I am 20 years later doing Zelda, so it's a really nice feeling.
Yeah, like I can imagine like all the kids, because we have so many kids, I don't know if you have seen.
Yes.
It's like they see you and they're like, oh my god, it's a princess.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're magical to their eyes. So, where do you get your inspiration for your costumes? Like, do you play video games? Do you watch anime? Do you read comic books?
Pretty much anything that I actually feel connected to, but I started watching anime, and anime is really close to me, but video games is also a big part of it. I have yet to cosplay from comic books because I'm playing so many video games, but I actually want to get out Black Cat next year, so that's going to be super fun. But basically anything that is sort of a connection to me, because then I feel like I'm more hyped to do the project, and that also connects me more with it.
I'm not really sure, actually. I mostly play video games because I'm really selective when it comes to anime. But I have been cosplaying Peter Parker, so some comic book stuff I've done, and I really want to do Thor. I know he's like big and beefy and all that, but I can make a muscle suit, I think. But yeah, I'd say mainly, I can say mainly, yeah, video games, but anime and video games mostly.
I like video games too, since I play lots. Like, what is your favorite game at the moment?
At the moment, oh boy, Well, I started to play Life is Strange last year, and Life is Strange 2 is currently out, so I really love that thing going on. It's a really cool game.
Amazing story, right?
Yes, you played it too, right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Oh my god. So I have to say Life is Strange, and I still play World of Warcraft on a daily basis and League of Legends, so it's a daily thing, but you know, cosplay takes up a lot of time, so I think all of the cosplayers out there know what I'm talking about. Cosplay takes up all our time, so we have to prioritize.
And I want to know.
At the moment, it's Starlink? Yeah, Starlink. It's a new video game.
Yeah, it's a VR one?
No,
No?
it is in space and all that stuff, but the thing about Starlink is that they have a DLC pack where you can play as Star Fox from Nintendo 64, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And I love that game, so I'm currently sitting at the hotel room playing Starlink, basically.
So, as you mentioned before, you guys are sisters. So, how is it cosplaying with a family member and like your sister? Is it like nice? Is it a good experience? Do you guys ever fight over your cosplays?
I think everyone who has siblings know that fighting is something that happens with sisters, but you know, that's only when we're tired and then we give each other some comments here and there. But we actually have 2 other sisters as well, so we're 4 sisters in total, and we all cosplay. 2 of them are at home. So it makes cosplay a little bit special, and it connects us even more as sisters, I feel like. And we usually do cosplays together with the things we grew up with as well. So sharing that with a family member is just a big plus, to be honest.
And plus we know each other so well, so we know when you need food.
Yes, we can feed each other when we haven't eaten for hours when we're creating our cosplays.
So the younger ones, do they cosplay or they don't?
Young ones do.
They do. The youngest is 16, and she doesn't really make that much yet, but she has been doing some, and she's really interested, so I think she's going to continue. The other one is basically my age, so I do most with her because you are busy doing all that armor stuff.
Yeah, the armor stuff.
But the 3 of us at least do like cosplay, like real cosplay.
So we might see them in the future.
It would be nice to have everyone gather together.
So, a question that I think most people would be interested in, is this a full-time job for you, or do you have an actual real job in order to fund your cosplay and your materials?
This is my full-time job. It has been since 2014. The thing is that I do teach at schools in Norway, at so-called folk schools. And you actually have cosplay lines where you can study cosplays for 1 full year. So I get invited there to host for panels and so on. And I also hold workshops at museums and other schools, high schools recently. And I also have my big shop, and I also get hired for movie premieres. So they ask me to portray a certain character, I make it, and then I portray it at the premieres. And usually I say yes to the characters, of course, that I really like to be connected to. But
I can relate, I've done it too.
So that's how I got into it. I've been doing it since 2014, and it's been going great.
You?
It's just my hobby. As I said, I'm a hairdresser, stylist, so I work with hair. But I don't really want it as my full-time job when I see her. Because I know how stressful it is, and I don't want to, for me though, it would ruin like my experience with cosplay. But everyone can do it full-time.
I mean, cosplay, if you want to work cosplay full-time, it's not a normal 8-hour job. For sure not. You have to put in all those extra hours and keep on creating and keep people interested and so on. But I still want to have that close connection to people as well and still do things that I love. But for sure, you have a hectic schedule if you want to do this full-time for sure.
Does this ruin this hobby you have? Like, I mean, since you're creative, like I can be in your shoes, and like when I create, when I make stuff, it makes me relax and enjoy and, you know, just go away from the daily things that I have to do. Since it's your job, is this stressful for you? Does this ruin the experience of cosplay?
Not really. Like what I do to relax is that I cook. I cook a lot. That's my hobby next to cosplay, is that I cook. I like to make food, and you guys know.
Do you eat it?
I have many sisters to feed, Oh, she doesn't want my mushroom soup. But it can be stressful sometimes, especially when you're given a deadline. We're not going to deny that if you're giving a deadline by a client, of course it's going to be stressful because you have a time frame. But in the end, when you're done with the costume and when you get to travel to conventions like this one, it's all worth it because you get to meet so many wonderful people with the same interests and we can connect over the same thing that we all love, and it's all worth it in the end.
So you mentioned so many things that you make money out of cosplay and out of those things. But what about Patreon? I mean, it's a very famous thing these days. It's like every cosplayer creates a Patreon where they post either shoots or tutorials, YouTube, photos. Do you have one first of all?
Yes, I have a Patreon, but I also like to keep a balance. I have a homepage which is tinemarie.com where I also post tutorials because recently I think it is so cool to share something with everyone as well. So I have a smaller tutorial, and if they want to support the Patreon, they can pay for a bigger package, for example. But I have a Patreon as well, and I have to say that Patreon is actually the most stressful one to keep a track of the orders and so on. So that's actually the hardest thing, I think. But it's a nicer way to connect more with your fans, and I try to reply to every single one as possible when they talk to me because I want to connect with them more because it's really nice of them to support my work, you know.
So what kind of material do you post on Patreon? Because there's this always controversy, and I mean here in Greece especially, about nude photo shoots or like more mature photo shoots. What is your opinion on that?
I think people do whatever they want to do as long as it makes them happy. For me, myself, I like to post more tutorial-wise, and I also like to share more photos, like limited photos on there. And selfies is also a thing I do, videos, like selfie videos, because people actually like the selfie stuff more than the photos because they feel more connected with the people. And I like that because then I can feel more connected to the other person as well. Because I want the person to be happy. I'm like a person pleaser. I want everyone to be happy.
You post a selfie, it has like 1,000 likes. You post like a simple photo, it has like 10 likes.
Yes, pretty much. So selfie things is something that I really like to give my fans and so on. But I think it's a really nice thing, and I think people should do whatever makes them happy.
So since you're making, I presume you're making all your costumes yourself, and we do have a few cosplayers here. What materials do you use, and which ones are your favorite?
I like the special effects kind of thing, so everything from casting and making silicone molds, and I also like armor the most. So I experiment a lot with foam and sometimes Warbla. Warbla I mainly use because it's better to travel with, because sometimes the foam pieces gets broken, and I know it's expensive though, with Warbla it's quite expensive. But in the end, if you're buying a foam cosplay and it gets ruined, it's hard to fix. So that's why I really use Warbla for that. But I have to say, I like to make big props. That's my favorite, making big props that is bigger than myself.
And you, Sophie?
This is the nice difference between me and Tina, is that she likes to make armor and I like to sew. So we help each other out at that front. So I'm going to go with like fabric that I really like, and that's dye stretch. And you can basically use it to make everything, I'd say. And like twill and mesh. Mesh is my favorite. It has that texture like you have in sportswear.
Yeah.
No, this is, I don't know the English word, but that's what I use for buffalo, you know?
Yeah.
And it has that nice texture, and it's stretchy, and if you sweat in it, it will like absorb.
Yeah, but in the end you're gonna sting.
I've seen people like on conventions, it's warm, I get it, but if you use like that sportswear stuff, like mesh, you won't notice it.
It's so nice that we can like share our experience with each other and give us pointers and so on, and that's really nice because even though we're sisters, we're so different. So we can like give us our pointers, and that's a big.
And I mean, you're doing like half work and you know the mistakes,
yes,
so
you
avoid them.
She could be like, I see what you did there, that's wrong.
So how much is an average cost for a cosplay?
That really depends, because Tine makes a lot of armor, which is more expensive compared to me that wants to make more costume out of fabric, so mine is around 2,000 to 3,000 Norwegian kroner. How much is that in euro?
In euros, about 350 euros. Yes, but the Norwegian currency is also a bit crazy. And currencies are different and things are super expensive in Norway, which is why us Norwegians tend to go fabric hoarding when we're traveling abroad.
So, do you buy any fabric from here? Do you know the
Is there
secret?
any places here where we can buy fabric?
Actually, we have pretty cheap fabric, which costs €1 per meter.
Where?
In Athens. I can talk to you about this later.
Yes, please.
So, what's the most expensive cosplay so far?
I'm currently making it right now. It's Ranger General Sylvanas from the game Heroes of the Storm. Everything is going to be casted, every single gem is going to be molded by hand. And the wires and the fabric, I used some expensive Thai silk, so it's really heavy to give a nice texture. And it's going to cost around 1,000 euros to make.
That's really expensive.
Yes.
So, what would you say to someone that is new and he is starting cosplay? What tips would you give him? Silence.
I know which one. Don't be afraid to cosplay. So because many people come up to me and say like, I want to cosplay, but I don't know anyone and I'm too shy. But when you do cosplay, what you people don't know is that you're showing the love for this anime or this game, and that way you can find other people who has the love for that game and that anime, and that's how you usually make friends. And that's how I also make friends, by finding people with the same interest in cosplay. So many of my friends, close friends, are the cosplay community which I've found around the world.
And it's like we need a tip, right? You know that.
No, it depends. Like, I have got people that told me, like, I'm afraid to cosplay, what should I do? And usually I say, just do it. And often they say, should I make it? Should I buy it? And that really depends. Do you feel confident enough to make it? Then you should do it, because it's much more fun to go, if you can, go around with a costume you made yourself. But if you don't have, like, skills yet, or don't want to try, it doesn't hurt to buy.
So since you mentioned it, what is your opinion about tailor-made costumes, self-made costumes, and bought from eBay or any other kind of site?
Like I say, everything is alright, everything is fine, but it also depends on where or what pose you're using the cosplay for. You won't win the cosplay competition with a tailored or a bought costume, because you have to have made it yourself. So that's like a must, you have to have made it yourself if you want to compete.
My first costumes were bought. The first cosplay I wore was Chi from the anime Chobits. I'm not sure if you know about it. Yes, I see we're not nodding. The Chobits, yes. I didn't have a wig or anything. I was just casually walking around and I had the best time of my life. But I think people should do whatever they... Hello!
So people say hello.
Hi, Spider-Man! But whatever people feel comfortable with. Sometimes, for example, I've seen other cosplayers who have done collaborations. And that's also fine, because sometimes you have a hectic schedule and so on, and then you can do a commission for somebody. That's also fine, but usually when you compete in the competitions, it might get you some minus points. But recently, people have made 2 different competitions. That's what I've seen. One is for example, the catwalk one.
Yeah, like I'm a host for arranger in Norway for a small con and for a bigger, like Norway's Comic Con, right? And we always have 2 different competitions, and that's the cosplay catwalk, where you can have bought your costume or made it yourself. It doesn't matter, no prejudging. You just go up on stage, do a performance, and go off. And the other one is like the master, where it's the classic cosplay competition. You have prejudging, and you have to have made it yourself, if not, minus points.
So the catwalk one is mainly based off the skills, how much in character you are and how you connect with the audience. Made or tailor-made, doesn't matter.
So you're not against it, which it's really good. So what is a good costume? Like, what is your opinion about playing the character or role-playing and just wearing the costume and, you know, walking around with it, since this is the point, I mean, in competitions?
I used to competing in competitions, because definitely more fun to be in character when you're with a group, because then you hype each other up more. So I would say mainly for photos or with friends or for competition, that's when I get in character. But you have a good example for your bodygo because you connect more with him, right?
You mean I'm angry?
Yes, you're angry.
Well, of course, it always depends. I'm not really in character when I'm not on stage. Luckily for me, most of my characters have the same personality somehow as I do, so it doesn't matter.
Same.
So I want you to tell me, ladies, what is your best moment in cosplay so far?
Well, recently, obviously now, this is one of the best moments, sitting here and connecting with all these people and seeing Riis. Every day is like a new day, and you have to take it, and being able to be here is so amazing, and people have been taking so good care of me. I'm actually shook. This is the conventions that people are taking the most care of me.
It's like great hospitality.
Yes, right? And you guys are coming up and you're giving us compliments, and I'm getting a little shaky and emotional about it too, so it's really nice. So this is,
It's like pat. It's okay,
yes.
Ernie.
But thank you guys so much again for having us. It's super nice.
I'm expecting the best moment, like now.
Now. Like,
Now.
I felt like a princess. Like with the hotel and here, and we had like
Marie, she's stealing your role. She said she's a princess,
Oh.
but I see what you did there.
Wearing a tiara.
I'm a princess. So yeah, here definitely is fun. Like we haven't been treated this well ever, I'd say. Like even I who arranged the con, I can say wholeheartedly we don't treat our guests as good as you guys. That's for sure. So other than that, I would say our convention in Norway, because
Yes,
that's our family, right?
We have like she also runs a con called KawaiiCon, and there is an opening performance which lasts for 1 hour with dialogue and dance. It's like a musical. So it's fun rehearsing together and doing everything.
First of all, thank you so much for saying all those good words for your hospitality. And now I want to know your worst moment. Like, one you remember and you're like crying inside of you and saying, oh my god, that's the worst thing ever.
Oh, I was proposed to by a stranger.
For marriage?
For marriage.
Oh
yes.
my god.
But this was in Norway, but she didn't have a ring. I was cosplaying Miss Fortune from League of Legends, and he just took one of my guns, got down on his knees, and proposed. And he had his buddy with them, and they didn't want to leave me alone, and I was getting a little scared because it was overwhelming, and it was a little...
It sounds kind of funny and kind of scary.
Both times when I think about it now, I have a good laugh, but I remember I was scared at that very moment.
I took the photo, right?
You took the photo, so we had.
So we have evidence.
I have the photo. Frankly, I should, but I don't want to expose him. So if I post it, I can blur out his face, then you can see my reaction. You can see on my face. I'm like.
It's like, what are you doing there, dude?
Yes.
It's like, is this for real?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, it's good that you don't have like a bad experience. That means everything is nice so far.
I mean, no one dares because I usually crossplay, right? So I'm a big scary boy.
Yeah. You got poked by one girl one time. She didn't stop chasing you.
Oh, that's not the worst.
No, it's not the worst. No.
That was just annoying.
That was just
I'd say all my worst moments is like the day before the con.
The day before
the con crunch.
The con crunch.
So since you mentioned about crossplaying, what is your opinion about crossplaying? Doing a character that is different than you in, weight, height, color, whatever. Is this different, or like cosplaying or gender bend? What do you guys think about it?
I am a crossplayer, so I, of course, has to say it's okay. I like to cosplay men mainly because I think it's much more fun to like do an extreme like makeover, if you get it. A girl is like too close to home, and still I don't want to look like that, if you get what I mean. It's too girly. It's too girly. But I think it's funnier to like go all in with crossplay, to be honest. So that's my opinion on crossplay, at least.
I hate crossplay, but but there wasn't to show too many pictures. I cosplayed Marluxia, but not like a fully cosplay Marluxia from Kingdom Hearts. And Victor.
He looked like a girl in the end.
That's why I did it.
Big, long, pink hair.
Yes, so that's why it matches, because I have really, as Sophie says, I have really girly features and sometimes it's hard to do the masculine makeup. But I also did Victor from Yuri on Ice. But I feel when I cosplay, it's a really new feeling and it's actually fun. I feel like more laid back and chill. Yeah, right? Exactly. Like, if anyone wants to cosplay, I really recommend it. It's fun and it's fun to get out of your comfort zone. It really was fun. So it's cute. And the makeup is really fun too.
But people that are different in character in general, like if they have more weight on them, should they cosplay, let's say, a leader character? What's your opinion on that?
They can cosplay anything they want to be. Like, same with me, I was afraid to cosplay certain characters because I don't have the certain shapes of that character. But I still decided to do it because my love for these characters won't change. Like, how do I say it? Like, I won't let it stop me if I have the same shape. I still went for it because why should it stop us really? I don't think it should stop us for having fun.
Cosplay is just a hobby that we should just make the most out of it and like have fun and meet friends and do all these social things and be in this amazing place and in this amazing community.
Exactly.
However, sometimes people are not that kind. Do you guys ever get mean comments from fans? Do you have like a negative attitude against you? How do they react?
Like every other community, and not only the cosplay community, it happens. It sadly happens. There's been pictures of Inbjörn and other places where people have said, I don't look like the character and I don't resemble the character, but why should a stranger's word mean something to you? That is the question. It shouldn't mean anything. You should do it for yourself. And that's what is important.
Sophie, do you have anything?
Lucky for me, I haven't been exposed to too many hate messengers, actually. But the few I'm exposed on my Instagram stories, so I'll let my followers take them.
How are your followers take them?
It's like, okay, so what a fan should not do?
And should not do well, propose to one.
Propose to?
on the convention. And not like get too touchy. Always ask for a photo first. That's always nice. And don't lay your hands on the costume, it might break. And other than that, you're good. Is that what you're asking?
Basically, we have these rules in Norway, actually. Cosplay is not consent. Yeah, and that's a really big thing in Scandinavia. You do not touch another cosplayer unless you ask for it. You do not have them without permission. You do not take their picture without permission. There's really like strict rules up in Scandinavia because of issues that have happened in the past. So I noticed like other places they don't have it, but what can you say? Scandinavia is really like political correct. If you
Like,
get that.
we don't have it here in Greece. Most people, they take your photo and they don't even ask. Like, I can tell you from personal experience because I've been to lots of cons. So are these like rules? Like, are these laws, or like do they exist and like it's a secret kind of law?
They're not written, but in the community or like Norwegians are very like shy in general, so they wouldn't do it, right? But at conventions, any convention in Scandinavia, they always have this panel that cosplay is not consent, and basically everyone around the community, including like the gaming community, knows about this. So I think it's just like started out somewhere, and it's got like unwritten rule. Get that?
So compared to Norwegian cons, and I'm sure you've been to so many cons, how do you see AthensCon so far? How is it? Is it big? Is it small? How do you see it?
Like, people are really social here, and that's what I feel like. As Sophie said, we're shy people from Norway. You know, we're only like 5 million people recently, I think, yeah. So we're not that many people. We're spread around Norway, so we're like a little shy. But cosplay really helped me to be more social, which is really nice. And people here are more outgoing, and I like that openness that we lack. Like yesterday, we had some great food, and
Was it good food?
super nice food. Of course, the good size of the convention, which I really like. It's like perfect size.
Did you know anything about Greek cons or Greek cosplayers before you came here?
Actually, I only got like messages from some people, and I started to follow them because of AthensCon, because I was really hoping that I could find some new people from here, which I could connect more with. So that's what I was aiming for, because it's more nice to meet them in person first, and then like connect more.
Share in online.
Yes, I like that.
And how do you see cosplay here? Like, I know you've seen so little since this is our first day and our first hours here, but I'm sure you saw so many people passing by your booth and by the alleys. How do you see it? Is it like a good standard? Is it good in most countries? Is it like...
I think it's good. I think people are having such a fun time too. You see that they're shining and they have that energy, and they're coming to our booths and asking for photos as well, and they have a good chemistry with everyone. And some cosplays have many more details, and some are just having like, for example, a uniform on, which is fine, which is really true to the character they're cosplaying. And it's all about what they want to aim for themselves. But all in all, people here are having such a good time and showing everything.
So we have a good quality so
I
far.
think so, yes.
So we're a good country.
Yes, you guys are.
Well, this is our, actually, this is the biggest con. It's the annual one, and everyone's so proud and so hyped about it. So I think it's time to give a word, a shout out to the people that want to ask questions, because I'm sure they want to. So if you guys want to ask anything, now it's your time to raise up your hands. It's like, no one? Okay, so if you guys don't know, Shasha and Victor, they actually got engaged.
I know they got engaged.
So I'm gonna give them mic.
Yes.
Hello, it's nice to meet you. So my question is, me and Victor would like to take part for the first time in qualifications for ECG or Euro Cosplay. What would you recommend us to do?
ECG is a big competition from what I've seen, and I've seen people judge it. I've judged one of the qualifiers from another country. The main thing is that ECG, they have to have a big performance and surprise the audience. Like I keep hearing like from other judges that they want a surprise to be remembered. So my biggest tip would be to have a surprise and take all of those small details into the costume and just blow them away with a new performance. That's what gives love.
The Danish people are so good at like skits. So you should go on YouTube and search it up, because they do like these smart prompts and all that stuff on stage. They're amazing, and you should look at that if you want to do that.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Well, hello again.
Hi.
I was wondering, which anime character do you plan to cosplay in the future?
Oh my, I did so many this year, but recently in December I'm going to have a tour with Honda from Fruits Basket. You've seen Fruits Basket?
Not really, but I've heard of it.
You've seen Fruits Basket, yes. They're going to make a re-airing next year, and that's going to be amazing. But other anime characters, I still want to do Tokyo Ghoul, the hero in the comics.
We're also doing Sailor Moon.
Yeah, we're also doing the Sailor Moon. I'm doing Sailor Mars. So there is actually many projects. The one from Full Moon Osakashite. That's a really old one that not many know. You've seen it. Yes, that was super cute anime. But I would say Toro Honda from Fruits Basket and Sailor Mercury are the next ones.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I wanted to ask you, which of all the cosplays done up until now, which one was your favorite?
Mine was Valkyrie Leona from League of Legends, because I have a big shield and a big sword, so I feel pretty badass. And so enhanced, sanded down by hands. I could not use the machine because it tore the piping up. So all of it is hand sanded, and I actually got an infection in my shoulder because of all the sanding. But I still did it because I really wanted to be this character. And this is also a rule. You have to take care of yourself while doing these cosplays because a lot of bad things can happen just like that. But Leona is definitely the one that I was truly happy with, the shininess of the armor and the props, of course.
I always say Link, that's kind of boring now, but I really love my Star Fox cosplay that I did 5 years ago. That was a humanoid person, but beside him, because that's an all costume now, it would be Bakugo that I made this summer because I made him in 7 days with the cannons included, so it turned out nice, so I'm really happy with it somehow.
This costume you're wearing now?
To make this cosplay?
Yes.
Like mainly because my love for the game and that I really want to celebrate already on my 20th birthday. Since I wanted to be Zelda since I was 7 years old. So it was mainly because I really wanted to do it. Yeah. Yes, how old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
That's passion. Oh my god. Are you planning to cosplay?
Yes, I like it very much.
Cool. In the future. In the future, yes.
I did this version of Link. This is the Skyward Sword Link because I really like the color combination. To be honest, it's like green and yellow and orange, basically.
Someone thought she was Peter Pan today.
Yes.
ερώτηση, ακόμα και στα ελληνικά, μπορούμε να κάνουμε τη μετάφραση προκειμένου τα κορίτσια να απαντήσουν στα αγγλικά και να τη μεταφράσω εγώ μετέπειτα. Εμείς στο τέλος, όσοι θέλετε μπορείτε να βγάλετε φωτογραφίες μαζί τους, καθώς και κάτω στο τραπέζι τους. So after, I think if anyone wants, they can take photos with you.
Of course.
We'll be here. And it seems like many more people are coming now. Do you have anything to say? Like, would you like to thank someone? To thank like mom, dad, friends?
Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa.
I would just thank everyone for coming here in general to ask stuff. And if there's anything you need tips for or anything, feel free to ask. Really like to help people out. And if also you have questions about old schools, about where you study cosplay, you can talk to me because they actually take interns. You can actually search to go there for a year, no matter where you are.
Since you talked about this before, is it online?
No, it's actually a physical school. You live at the school for 1 year. It's a dorm kind of thing. They have, for example, cosplay, even esports you can study for 1 year to be a professional gamer. Movies, photography, you know,
Art.
arts, even going out on landscapes, anything.
It's really weird that you can actually study cosplay in another country while we here in Riis are so far behind, because people, we always try to educate people with cons like this, what cosplay is all about, because still they don't really know, and we have like this kind of holidays that we call apocryphs here in Greece. It's like when people are dressing up, like it's called a masquerade, but I mean, it's, you know, it's like kind of cheap, like Halloween, and they don't really know what cosplay is and type of art, and it's really amazing that this exists in your country. So if someone would like to find you, what social media are you on and how can they contact you?
I have my Facebook page, Cosplayer Riis, and my Instagram is Tine. So if you have any questions, you can ask them there. And I also have a homepage with tutorials, which has my mail on it, is tinemarie.com. So if you need any help or want to ask anything tomorrow, you can come by my booth downstairs and ask.
ambitious one. So, and Sophie, where can they find you?
I'm mainly on Instagram, so that's Sophie Riis, or Riis, Sophie Riis, and it's the same on Facebook with Cosplay afterwards, but I'm more active on Instagram or Twitter, but it's still my name all over.
I see that you also have a YouTube channel, which is pretty active, and you have like lots of videos and showcases. So that looks amazing. So they can follow you there as well.
Tine is that one. So, but usually I have like only connected links on my other social media. So there is also tutorial videos if you want to get more into it by seeing the video, because sometimes that is easier rather than reading upon a tutorial instead.
So first of all, thank you to you people that actually arrived. Are there any more questions that you would like to ask Ray and Sophie? Anyone? Any questions? They're on the back. I can see you people.
I think you asked many good questions then. You did a good job
I know,
asking.
I think I covered everything.
Yes,
it's like, how much time do we have left?
10 minutes, I think.
It's like 10 minutes. So I think it's time for the photos, right?
Yes,
We can
let's
give
do
them-
it.
So if anyone would like to take a photo with the girls, for free. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys.
Give a big round of applause.
You guys have trouble with systems that's heating up the water boiler for a material I want to show you. But yeah, I think I will introduce myself first. Hi guys, I'm Tine. I have been cosplaying for 10 years next year. And thank you. And today we're just basically going to have a cozy hour. You guys can ask me for tips and tricks, and then on the internet there's no presentation, because I want every guys to connect together with me. So it's going to be fun. And I also have a material with me today that you guys get to test. We're going to make something out of it today. It's called polymorph. You guys know what polymorph is? Have you guys used it? You have used it? It's actually a really good material, and it's not too expensive, because as many of you know, cosplay can get really expensive at times, right? So that's what we want to show you guys. So I have, it's just poppy ghost exploding a little over there. But yeah. I have with me a carrot. It's not edible, but this is actually made out of polymorph, and you see how shiny it can get. So I'm going to teach you a few secrets about that, because not many people know how to. But for now, while we wait for the water boiler and for her to take off her chopsticks for the polymorph, we can just my sister everywhere.
Thank you.
Oh, it's pens. Oh, we can use that.
Pen? Yeah. She thought it was chopsticks, but it's pens. But let's start with the random question rounds. Do you guys have any questions regarding any specific materials? Is there anything you need help with? We can start with just a simple Q&A, maybe? Yes, please.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Vagelis.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. And I am trying to make an Iron Man suit.
An armor suit?
Yeah,
Yes.
from Iron Man.
Iron Man, amazing.
I have a sample, but it's in the car. And I'm running out of troubles with not the gluing part, but the body filler. What body filler can I use, and what paint do I use afterwards? Because it's so... it will crack easily.
It will crack.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'm trying to figure out what should I use after I will construct the suit.
So what materials are you using for it? Is it foam, EVA foam, or EVA foam? Yes. So
It's the basic stuff.
basic, yes, with EVA foam. So for EVA foam, what I usually do before I start priming is that I heat it up, because then you close the pores in the foam. So it usually gets a little more matte after you use a heating gun. And after the pores are closed, it has a more smooth surface. And have you heard about plastic dip?
Yeah, I heard. I tried it too, but it's kind of expensive.
It's expensive, yes.
Eventually, for the whole shoot, I will need 10, 12 canisters. And
I know.
That's about 150 euros.
It
or more.
is, right? Plastic is crazy expensive. So what I like to do is I go to those rubber deck stores, you know, those tire stores, they usually sell plastidip as well, but not the original plastidip kind, but a cheaper version of plastidip.
Okay.
Yes. You should also try to have it in room temperature and shake it well before you use it, because if it's too cold, it's going to be like clumpy when you're spraying it. So try to have it in room temperature and not have it outside. But what else? You talk about the construction.
The body filler. What should I use to cover my gaps in between joints?
Body filler as in...
Parchment. I think that's the name.
Parchment? Do you body filler?
What?
Body filler? No.
When you combine the two pieces, there is a gap. What do you do with the gap to close?
Han tänker på som filler, du vet när du har späckor och sånt i form.
Ja.
Så brukar vi typ som fugerting och sparkla.
It's like a after you get cracks in the foam, you mean?
Not the cracks,
No.
but the joint. When you combine
Oh, the edges things. Yes.
there's a need. Well, how can I cover it?
It's there is a silicone paste sort of thing that you fill in with it, and you apply water with your finger. And after you have smoothed it out, it will cover the cracks and not leave any like surfaces.
That's like Quicksilver, I think.
Yeah, might be like. You use it for hardware things.
Yeah, but here I can't find Quicksilver.
You can't find Quicksilver.
Yeah, or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out what is it so I can find something similar.
You know what? I have something similar, but I'm going to make a quick call to Norway and find out the other name for you.
Tänker han på sparken?
Nej. Den andra är silikonpiller. So let's make a quick call to the hardware store in Norway.
You mean your...
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Let's see.
Your answers, that is...
Stort spørsmål. Det som vi brukte til å dekke til kantene på foamen, hva heter det igjen? Den heter Cassiel på engelsk, men det heter noe annet også. Noen som driver her nede. Ja, den er det silikongreia som vi smørte på vingene. Til Kajsa. Den hvite. For å dekke til kantene. Acrylic. Yeah. So far they're saying something called acrylic filler.
Okay, that's very basic.
But they're going to research something for you. Just a normal day coming to Norway.
What time is it in Norway right now?
1 hour behind. So not too bad. Not too bad. Vi har paneler, skjønner du. Nå kan du sende meg en melding, da, så kan jeg si det etterpå. Greit? Yes. Ja, det er...
Vil du ha et annet bilde på skjermen?
Ja, du kan bare søke om det. Oh, you got it up! How are the nice sister? Gå på Blog English. Den første var ringene. Eller du hører på teksten der, ja. Because the thing I used to cover those specific cracks, you know, it has like different cuts here and here and here, and sometimes you don't want the gaps. That's what you're talking about, yes. You can just scroll down a little. Where are we cosplaying Zelda today, eh?
I wondered that too.
Yes. Go down further. This one? Yes. You can see it very well here, but the acrylic one is usually white. And what you do is that you take a cup of water next to it and you mix it together with the acrylic filler. And then you have the smooth edges to get to it.
Okay, you don't sand it?
No, not at all.
With water?
Yes, and it's like a rubber after it hurts, so you don't need to brush it or anything.
So you need to have a really small gap, so you don't need to do.
Just dip your finger in water and apply it.
Right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Alright, any other questions for your projects? Nothing?
Lights in the helmet.
Lights and helmets?
Yeah, I really like the eyes.
So usually what I like to do for lights in the eyes is blinding, yes. So it all depends on which way you're pointing the LED lights. So if you're pointing it more outwards, you will still get a glowing effect without you getting blind for the rest of the day in costumes. And I usually like to Dremel like small, what do you call it, cuts in the helmet on the inside so the wires doesn't push on your brain because, you know, it's quite painful to have something pushing constantly on your brain. So if you like make small Dremel cuts into the helmet, then you can put the wires in there and it will lay them perfectly.
I try to do the armband as I said before.
Yes.
So when I put lights in the helmet, it will reflect the light from in front of the mask. So when the light goes out, but it still goes in, hitting the walls and coming back. So I can't see basically. So I was trying to think of a way, maybe put a barrier or something down there so it reflects the light outwards, not inwards.
Yes, that actually will work really well. So you should try that for sure. Yes, let's see. Oh, if you want to come up I can have some more juice for you guys since I have my lovely job. How many guys of you are familiar with Warbler?
Not working with it.
One, two-ish. Well, do you most know what Warbler is? Anyone who doesn't know yet? Well, there's a good mix, but Warbler is a thermoplastic. It's a combination with glue or like those sawdust things, the original one. But recently there's more new ones that contains more plastic. And when you heat it up, it gets soft and you can mold it to anything. And within a few minutes, it will harden and you can like shape it the way you want, but it's soft. Crystal Maiden is a good example on the staff, for example. I used a special kind of primer for my Warbler parts. I like to get things really shiny. So what you can do, of course there's something called wood glue, but I'm not too fan of that, to use wood glue on my pieces. Because what happens if the Warbler bends is that it cracks. Because the Warbler can be a little bit flexible. So what I like to use is something called gesso. You guys know what gesso is? Yes. Oh, it's just like a primer before paintings and so on. But gesso is really thick and it's a little elasticy. So I applied 10 layers of gesso by hand and then I sanded it down by hand. And if you use a machine, the gesso will tear open. So it's a lot of hand work on it. And what I like to do after is that I like to use car paint and spray it over, and after that I get a super shiny result. So if you have time, and enough time, that's funny to say that because cosplayers barely have time for anything, but if you plan your cosplay well in advance, I really recommend gesso over wood glue because you get a smoother result and it lasts longer and it's just really good. So that's a tip for you guys. And the quality of the gesso matters. I bought a really cheap one and when I started to sand it, it just tore open instantly after 10 layers. So if you get a little good quality gesso, then it's so worth it in the end. We're going to be experimenting all of us afterwards with oil work, so is there any more questions so far?
Can I ask something?
Of course.
About the EV foam,
yes.
The normal one and the professional. I know the professional is better,
yes.
But in the long run, is it cheaper to have a professional foam or the cheap one? I mean, which one has a longer lifetime?
Longer lifetime, yeah. Well, of course, when you get like the more exclusive one, it's going to last longer. But in Norway, we had limited with foam for the past years, and then I used just cheap yoga mats from the hardware store, and I just heated them up and shaped it. But I'd like to cover it in Worbla because it was more sturdy, but it gets easier to torn. Like if you suddenly do like this or get close to it, it might get bumps in it. So I would recommend investing in a little bit more exclusive foam.
And instead of Worbla and wood glue, because Worbla is a bit too expensive for a whole
I know,
suit.
right?
Yeah, it's amazing, but it's a bit expensive. What are what can we also put on the foam to have the glowiness?
The shininess.
Yeah.
Well, again, we spoke about Plastidip and it's really expensive. But if you use a cheaper Plastidip for a primer, there's also different colors in Plastidip. And I recently figured out, let me go up the net, that they got some new shades which are really cool, which I tried out. Because Plastidip have colors too, you know? It's fun to enter a Norwegian website out here.
I switched thing to English.
Hey girl, first of all, there is a new type which I really enjoy using. They have different kinds, but I just want to show you this example of this new plastic that came out. Basically, it gives off a shine like this after you use it, like a rainbowy texture that's see-through.
That's when the light hits it
Yes,
from
when
a
the light
certain
hits
way.
Yes.
So it's not...
it's not the color. No,
maybe
it's
it's
a
all
see-through one.
green, afterwards it's all blue, all...
No, it's
whenever
see-through.
whenever the light hits it.
Yes, I used it for some of the wings, and like you barely see it, but as a top coating, when you move, you see the rainbowish colors. So when the light hits and when people take photos, you see a rainbow transfer. And if I had a blue background, it looks blue normally, but when the light hits, it's a rainbow color. So I really like using this for like a top coating. But usually with all of the other Plastidips, you have to seal it with a clear Plastidip. If not, it will just rub it over.
Is it some way the clear plastic? I think it's one clear plastic. When I buy plastic for trying,
Yes.
I saw a plastic clear, like a paint clear, and a
Yes.
plastic that gives snow effect clear or something like that. It's kind of different.
Exactly, they have many different kinds. This is just one out of many things that they have. So you don't have to use spray paint. I know that airbrush also works really well on foam, but an airbrush is even more expensive for the paint and the compressor. So let's see. Here they have other colors, the cameo, for example. See if they can show some.
Go back, they have like a big photo.
Okay, then let's see, it's this one. Let's see. Here you can see they have other different colors of Plastidip.
And the clear ones are
They are
not only one clear.
no, there is, these are all covering, full coverage. So if you need to like use it on a already Plastidip surface, and after you use black, for example, you can cover this with this one. And as it says in this one, the luxury Plastidip one, you don't need a clear top coating.
Oh.
Yes. That's why it's called Plastidip Luxury. So you actually save money on using this one.
But that's the painting. So if that's the result.
Yes.
If you paint it black and use this, that's what you get.
Yes.
White, grey, whatever.
And silver,
So
yes.
the clear one plastic. I thought I saw 2 or 3 different clear ones.
Yes.
So when you spray black and you want to clear coating,
Yes.
some give gloss, some
Give
is
sparkles?
just yeah, that's different clear kind of plastic.
Let's see. I think we're talking about this one. This one only gives like, this is already colors on other surfaces and they give only a little bit of sparkle. Some of them you can see too well here, but some of them only add sparkle on the clear coating, and some of them adds just a metal clear look for top coating. Yes.
That's it. Has different clear.
Different clears, yes.
So you need to know what clear you want to do.
Yes. Usually I like to have the original clear one. That's the one I like to use, unless you want something sparkly, then you can figure that one out.
You don't want glossify.
No, you want like want a little more not too glossy, a semi-gloss, then I have it there. Are you guys ready to try some polygon? If you guys can get a little closer, I would love to show you some tips and tricks. The water is coming soon. Sorry.
It's
Not water. I'll also use a heating gun, but that's what I usually like to use after it looks like this. I have a baking paper underneath so it doesn't stick to the table because it gets really sticky. So have a baking paper and get ready to bake. It's really fun. Here it's not completely hardened. As you can see, it's still moldable. But just like Worbla, it has a curing time. Defeat. So what you can do with these molds is actually quite funny. You can Dremel this product as well, but you have to be careful because you can imagine the friction makes it hot again, so the bites might get all over the place. So if you have long hair, tie it up in a ponytail, have safety glasses, and then you can start Dremeling. And if it gets too soft, dip it in cold water. So it's just like a chemical process.
When this one goes hot enough, it will be back to pearls or it will be just melting?
And when it's warm again?
Yeah. When you are dremeling or whatever you do to it.
It will get see-through.
Cool. It will become like this again?
In the end. But when it's warm, it will get like this. See?
Yeah.
So, some new piece.
You can squeeze it enough to remove the bubbles, I think.
Yes, you can. So you can pretty much hold it for anything. Originally, it was made for making Warhammer skeletons for the figurines. It's hot.
Where can we buy polymorph?
Usually, sometimes they have stores at different
Art-time store.
Yes.
Here it is.
Oh no, you're careful with your hands.
Is it affordable?
It's affordable. That's why I like using it. I like using it for details and tags.
Oh my
I roll them to my feet. And I
Oh my
now they
name.
have like hard
When do you
fingertips
used to
though.
paint them?
I used to use this for paint.
Acrylics on?
Yes, or acrylic.
For the teeth and inside the mouth.
I just don't color them at all.
Ah.
So usually these are not toxic. It's not dangerous. People use them for kitchen tools as well. So what you do
The whole nail
is that you
polish
have a
will
basic
come
form,
off.
and then you hold them
Maybe
until
you can wait until it's cold, or you can like heat it up somehow.
I don't know. It's okay. I'm going to
and then you have the basic
repaint them.
like shape of your tooth inside, and then I keep molding it, and then you can Dremel it smaller after, and you keep molding it to your tooth, and then you bite. So we have a little biting mark under, and at the end after your Dremeling you have your own custom fangs. So it's super fun.
Perfect for your shape.
Yes, and it's as I told you, it's not toxic. People use this for kitchenware.
Oh.
So you swallow it and you are
Yeah, we
okay.
swallow it.
You know,
Okay,
so-
yeah. Then we'll just poop it out. It's all right. And for other things such as, let's see. Oh,
You ruined my horn though.
was it a horn? Sisterly love. Har du mer vann?
Yeah. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
How do you know how much you're going to need?
Oh,
How do you
usually
know the amount beforehand?
this one was like this full, and it's lasted me for 2 years.
Oh.
It all depends on your details, how much you want to make. I also have like, if you go back to my homepage, I use like, for example, if you have Worbla, you can use it for details on the breastplates. Valkyrie, yes, for you see the claws on this one, those this is polymorph. It's easy moldable. You can actually make those fangs out of this. Take them to your costumes and they pop it.
This one, fun.
Have you
How much did it used for you?
Like
It will keep basically the volume you use will be reusable.
Yes, for example, for detailing. Ja. De har ikke kommet opp ennå, men søk på Valkyrie Leona på Google. Like, so I think Sophie used about this much for each frame.
This much is like what the result for this one.
Yes.
So the bag, maybe it's about 20 of these?
No, not too much.
More or less.
This was this full, and when I made Persian, it was actually still more left. Yes.
So you can make some details for the entire costume you like with one bag?
Pretty much. They sell it in 200 grams, 500 grams. I like to go for the 500 because you get more for the money.
Yeah.
And let's see.
I will usually use it, so
Yes.
why not?
Ooh, it's slippery. Get back here. Nebbe. Do you see the peck on the helmet? That's all polymorph. So I was sitting there with the helmet, and I was heating it up with the gum and kept molding it and molding it. And then I took the cold water on it. So I was sitting there molding it like a mold.
The whole pack is polymorph.
The whole,
Yeah, I get it.
this.
The beak.
The beak.
Big.
The beak, yes.
We can use it to cover the gaps we are talking about earlier.
It might have a little edges on that part because it gets stiff. Not
Yeah,
so.
but you can sand it somehow.
Yes, you can sand it. If you want to try, it's worth the try.
Yeah, maybe.
In hot weather, I guess it loses its shape.
Not, it's like a 90 Celsius, it starts to get
Okay.
It's safe.
Okay.
So, as you see here, I'm going to, for example, if I were to make this like spike, I would Dremel it more. But here you have the basic shapes, and you can pretty much mold them yourself instead of sitting there making every single one, because that's horrible. I was like, I don't want to do that, so I just made a silicone mold, and then you can make as many as you want.
The silicone mold, you buy it for a gallon, I think.
Yeah, you can buy like bigger ones, like two different ones. This one was one in just the white and green, and then we mixed them together. And after 15 minutes, it cured. It was ready. So I'm not sure what you guys have in Riis, but I bet it can find it in.
They usually have it.
No, it's materials hard here.
But like you can get them at kids stores sometimes.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. Because you can buy them at like hobby stores for children in Norway. So I'd say that you can find them maybe at a kids store
Because
somehow.
it's hard to get materials here in Riis as well.
Some materials, yeah.
So you struggle. It's the same in Norway as well.
And how do you glue it? With super glue or
Super
other-
glue or hot glue works, because when you use the hot glue, it reacts to it because the hot glue is hot. So
But hot glue it has broken.
yes, it can break. Yes, that's why it's better with like the contact glue cement.
Contact cement.
Yes. But it's I used to hot glue some of the pieces, and sometimes it works, but you have to make sure like the bottom of the polymorph is still a little warm, because then it still reacts even better with the polymorph.
With MS polymer glues are reacting good.
With polymorph, just like with Warbler, because it reacts when it gets hot. Like here, for example, if I had a heating gun, that's how I did it at home. I used a heating gun to keep warming it, because right now it's a little bit difficult, but suppose you get the point of it. Let's see.
Can I ask you, what did you use for the solid parts of Bakugo's outfit?
This one?
Yes, this part
is,
and that
that's just foam, Eva foam. Like I bought this yoga mat, and I built this. So the only thing needed there is contact cement.
Contact cement.
And you will just like put them on each pieces and let them dry a little, and then push it together, and they're stuck. Like I've tried to break this, but I can't.
One replacement for the contact cement maybe, because I tried to find contact cement, didn't manage to do it. So with research, I end up figuring out in Greek, το λέμε τουλάχιστον βενζινόκολλα. No, I think it's that here. It's what we use to for the shoes and the leather.
Yeah,
that kind of.
But that can work also. But don't forget that all the different kind of contact cement has different quality as well. I bought one from a hardware store in Norway. That's cheap, Biltema.
Biltema, I was about to say.
But when I went to a little bit more expensive one, they were like,
yep.
So that can have an impact as well.
So find out the expensive one, try it out and see if it works better.
Yes. Like we have a store in Norway that its name is Biltema, and they have their own brand, which is bad, but they also like have other brands. It's basically, yeah. So maybe stay away from those kind of brands.
Yes.
Okay. If you like the result, keep doing it.
Yeah.
If you don't, find something else.
Like I used hot glue like way before on foam and it just melted. So yeah.
That's a problem.
Yep.
It melted from the heat that you were.
Yeah, it basically
using.
just craved out a hole.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, okay, nothing.
In big pieces in the body, but in bigger ones, like do you know Warhammer Space Marines?
Yeah.
That type.
Yeah.
Like the shield.
Even bigger, no, even bigger.
Bigger than the shield?
Yeah, huge one.
The armor part, not the shield, the whole armor. The gaps between the body and the armor, how do you fill them?
Festene på en måte når du har sånn som Leona da, du vet jo ikke hvordan baksiden ser ut. Hvordan fester du?
Dere snakker om volumet.
Nei, jeg tror du lurer på hvordan du fester gapen der du lukker det, for du må jo få armen inn i det.
Oh, you mean like the volume of it? You mean how many volume?
Oh yeah.
That's what I use is bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap.
The bubble wrap like on the inside because then you have the volume. If not, I usually wrap EVA foam layer to layer to layer in circles. Then you can fit your hand in and it sticks there. And then you can also use like Velcro on the inside, attach it to whatever you're wearing, the fabric, and on the inner side of the things, and it will stick.
But isn't that a bit too hot, maybe?
That's how it is. Warhammer cosplay is hot, and I've seen like they make those isopor stelts.
Yeah.
And they like fix their own shoes. They drill their own shoes into the Warhammer costumes.
Yeah, I have to. I know that.
It's so cool. I'm like, oh, it's so amazing. But,
huge.
Yes, huge. But like, you have to like extend something so it stays in one place. That's what I had to do with Alex Straza because her gloves here, they were just completely covered, and she has a big volume to them, so I kept like covering the inside.
Paint here, not there, paint there.
You have to have an even stroke. Hush, don't mock the learning. And then I glued it on. I was making it like hurt for a couple of minutes before, and that's how I attached it to the fabric. So that's how it turned out in the end. And this is the dyeing I used to dye the wig. I also used clothing dye because I wanted it darker. It's not a soup. But you see the color it got? Really pretty purple. And that's clothing dye. You can use that for transparable and wigs.
Before you start actually any of the work, when you trying to print the patterns,
I make them myself.
Yes, she's not cute, she's saving.
Okay.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
How can you find the appropriate measurements? For example, for a big probe. How can you, for example, say you're making a big sword and you want to make it in the size it is from the video game. How are you going to make it, the measurements?
Cardboard?
Like I have
not how to make it, the measurements.
Yeah, but if you try and like there's cardboard, it's
there's a roll.
To check it.
There's a roll of thick paper that I use. You saw it maybe in the background here.
Yeah.
It's a thicker paper that I use to like measure things and cut out, and then I look at myself in the mirror and see if the scale is right. I have to do it many times to get it right, but that's how I do it to get it. That's why not.
For the masks, have you ever used glow sticks, glow glasses? I'm not sure how they are called. They are glasses that glow, actually.
Yes, it is with
the
it's called
lenses over the
It's called plexiglass.
And not the
Yes.
plexiglass.
Yes.
They are normal glasses, but they have the light around
the sides.
yeah.
They have some LEDs coming from a certain angle hidden somewhere. That's where I've been seeing. So I'm not sure how they done it, to be honest. But I think it's a LED thing here.
Here.
Yes, and there's a
Like it's stupid that they're here, nobody will see that because they will light up.
pretty much. Well, this is just a makeup part. It's a well, we all look pretty in our recaps, don't we? But that was pretty much the process of of the video.
Do you have any problem with the ventilation of the shape? Kind of
Yes,
ventilation.
of course. It doesn't breathe
Yeah.
a lot, so it tends to get really warm under armor and so on. So you need to drink a lot of water and sometimes take breaks to the toilet to take some paper to get wipe up your sweat and so on. That's the only like that. So in the past, I have just gone to the toilet to have a little break and
Okay.
have a fan. I have a portable fan with me, and then it helps a lot
How can you make patterns for body parts?
for body parts.
Yes, for example, for armor.
And you saw it at the start of the Kaisa video. I you wrap yourself in cellophane, use masking tape, and then start drawing on yourself.
Okay.
And then you cut up the pieces, and I usually do half because you can just transfer the other part on the other side to the other parts. So that's the best way to get it customized to your type.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
So what do you do so that you will not be destroyed?
And she can talk about how to clean wigs, because cleaning wigs is something many people really forget. And she's a hairdresser, and she has her own wig panel usually, so you can talk some about how to clean the wigs.
Wigs.
Yes.
You should clean like this is long overdue, right? I styled it this summer, and it should have been cleaned like months ago, right? You usually just put up a bucket and put in a mild shampoo, and you just rinse your wig, right? Not like that, but just like easy peasy. And then you rinse it in cold water and you hang it up. And you should not blow dry it. If you absolutely have to blow dry it, use like the cold air. So that's the best way. And also if you want to have volume in it, you should put it upside down when you dry it. That way the hair will like fall upwards and you will have volume when you put it back.
That's the washing part, and usually I like to hand wash the fabric parts of my costume because I don't like to take it in the machine and you don't know what usually happens. You have more control if you hand wash it. That's what I usually like to do.
Cold water.
A little tiny bit hot, not too hot, but just like a little bit warm. And for my armor parts, you know those baby wipes? Those are super good, I tell you, those are super nice. Just take those baby wipes and wipe the inside of the armor, and it really helps a lot. And it's kind to your skin as well. It's for babies, so it's really gentle. So those baby wipes are really good. Then you have your own silicone pieces. So you can use this actually as a mold for liquid latex or silicone as well.
So the plastic dip it won't stuck in this and it will come off the shape you have molded.
Yes, and sometimes you can just tear it open because it's just a mold anyways, so it gets out. I mean, if it's thinner, it's just easily tearable. This one is a bit too thick, but it's tearable. No worries.
So if the plastic dip doesn't stuck to it, you need to sand it before you paint it?
Yes. Yes. You want my tooth? You? Well, I can actually hand some off. If some of you want a little bit of the more, you can actually have. Really lovely that you guys came here today. So yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. So who wants polymorph? Yes. You have a whole. You have a dry box. Yeah. You have pockets. You have pockets.
I have my money.
I have my money. But when you pull up your money, it's polymorph coming out from everywhere. No, wait, I have. Well, if someone else has pockets, you can have this. You can mold it as many times as you want.
Just put it in hot water. It's fun to try though and like test it out,
If
right?
someone wants a. And you can have the spike.
It was a horn.
Sorry.
What?
It was. Someone was. I have a bag. You have a bag. Oh, I love your bag.
Bag of goodies.
This way you get to try some as well. But just be careful with your hands. As I said, I have fireproof hands. I've used this material so long, so just feel it like
Thank you.
as much as you want. Welcome. You got my tooth review.
Yeah,
You're the lucky one.
That DNA.
Anything one wants? Yes? You take it in the pocket. Just don't forget to put it in the washing machine then. You might hear it.
What do you use for fun? To function?
There's a special glue you can buy for this. Yes, it's called teeth glue actually.
How do you unstick it?
They have a. There's for the liquid you put on it afterwards. To make it really easy.
I think